Jan Sanders. I live in Orillia, Ontario, and have been part of the ICA since 1972. So the story I want to tell today is about Rama First Nation, which was an outgrowth of the 24. So we had the 24, and then we had another round of the US 12. And so the uniqueness of Rama is it was one of our first community projects where we were not in residence. We didn't go live there. It started, like so many of the other consults, with building the relationship, understanding the community, the culture, having the context, the consultation. And we had a great team come and do the consultation. And just to remember some of the folks, Ladonia and John Euler came, Taya Patterson, the ICA Canada group came, and it was a profound happening in the community. It was, I have to say this, they had had a government strategic plan, and those plans were still sitting along the walls 6 years later and nothing had happened. We started this one with a community, kitchen dialogues. Some of the uniquenesses was we developed a core of people, and then we trained them in some basic conversation technologies, and then they went throughout the community and visited every household. We called them the kitchen dialogues. And they pulled that together into a vision statement. And when I think about it now, it was like it was very much a grassroots vision statement. It was things that they could do, very practical. Lights in the ball field was one of them. The church hall renovated, but it wasn't like huge out of the grasp of the community. And they carried through. At the consult, one of the first projects was to have a community newspaper. Now this was in 1983. That community newspaper is still going and published now it's a monthly one, but has the news and carries that, and has the journeys of the people and what's happening and schedules, and it's an incredible little piece that has come out of that. It's been a thread throughout the whole thing. So I came back into the community and did leadership training, the basic. This was before we had kind of codified into TOPS or anything like that, but just the workshop methodologies, the project development, project implementation, monitoring, all those pieces they had. But I came in and went out, and I never participated actually in any of the projects. I might attend something, but it wasn't my energy or the group's energy to make this happen of the ICA. It was the community's energy to make it happen. Sometimes we nudged, but it was kind of a new understanding of the outsider's role, I think, in terms of a project. And so, and then after 2 years, it was like I left. I remember a time when it was over. And but I got a call 8 years later and said, well, we finished that 10-year plan and we want to do a second 10-year plan. And so I went back again, and we again worked with a core group of people. We did the kitchen dialogues again. And so it was a powerful time of coming back together, celebrating the accomplishments. We actually recreated downtown Rama, and we said what we wanted downtown Rama to look like now. And so we had games where we could play, had little money, and you could buy things. And so we just put ourselves into this perspective of the vision. And that's a piece I've learned, is how do you role play or create enough of the vision so people can actually stand in it and make it happen. and celebrate it. Have a celebration, a victory cake, something like this. So this was our celebration. And then we did the planning the next 2 days. So it was, so we did the planning in 83, we did it in 93, and then we did it in 99 again. 3 different community planning processes. Because the second 10-year plan only took 5 years to do. And everything wasn't accomplished, but it was enough accomplished that it needed to do more planning. So this has unfolded. The community now does their own planning processes regularly and has instituted major economic developments, slowly built up. I think this is part of this, is to just slowly build this up. And from that work, and the First Nation itself now shares some of its income with every First Nation in Ontario. So that's a part of that. I'm a First Nation. And this is my husband, Richard Sims, who's been part of me with this journey. And in the kind of the second phase of our work there, Ontario decided that it would host one casino. And Rama First Nation was awarded this contract, and it began to develop a casino. And it was going to be just, the first one was kind of a casino to make enough money to make the big resort the international destination. And so what it was actually going to look like was a big box. And so we already had a world-class architect, and he decided that he would put murals all the way around the outside of this. It was like a big Costco. And this was his proposal to the chief and council at the time.
Yes.
Chief Lorraine did love the idea, but she did not want to have an international competition for Native artists across Canada. She wanted to only use the artists from Rama First Nation.
That's true.
And everyone looked around and said, who would that be? And then she turned to me and she said, okay, Jan, make it happen.
Make it happen. I've heard this story before.
But
it ends, don't be too scared, because it ends okay.
It ends okay. That's right. That we did not know that at the point if it was going to end okay or not. But so we set up a process to have the artists come in from the community, and our young men were working, or the artists were working on building the casino at this point. They'd come in. I remember one guy coming in with his work boots, and mud had been raining, and he was carrying his portfolio of art projects in, and that was Tim. And we put together a council of elders, First Nation, and 1 or 2 Native artists. And one of our artists said in the selection process, we needed to think through and ask the question, as an artist, would you help mix paint for the other artist? And so those were the artists we wanted. And so every person asked that question. We saw their work. Most of them were beginning artists or weekend artists. And we ended up taking everyone who said they would help mix paint for the other artists, because this is going to be a big training project. And then it was like, well, what would go on the walls of a casino? And so the young artists started thinking about this, and they decided to have a vision quest out of the tradition of the Native people. And we asked Elder Jim Dumont to come in and work with the artists on a visioning. One of the artists in the midst of this, Jim did different processes, talked with the community, but one of the artists asked Jim, well, what can we put, what do we put on the walls? Do we put dice? Can we put our sacred images? And Jim looked at him thoughtfully and said, in the past, the Creator has given you the faces of the rocks to put our arts. This is the new face of the rock. Paint what is in your heart. And it just set the artist free to paint what was in their hearts, what was moving them, what was beckoning them, what was beautiful in the culture. And they then chose the theme of the 7 clans of the Ojibwe people. So it was pretty much animal motif. And they took that back to the community, the drawings, the community looked at it, they were so excited. And this was all part of a process just to make the community, or to feel part of the whole process. So this happened, and if you come to the casino now, that was 20 years ago. All around the outside are these beautiful images of the clans done in the native style. And then also they had, like, I'll just tell about the warrior was one of the clans, and the Martin as the warriors. And so there were little pictures also of the native warriors, the native people who served in World War I and World War II, and they had their pictures painted. So you really got 2 art forms. But it's amazing what has transformed with that community in terms of now, like, the kids want to know, well, what clan am I? And they recognize the clans. It helped just start and catalyze the whole process of recognizing the beauty of their own culture and taking an interest in it. So that was one of the projects that was just we helped participate in and give shape to.